The massive crystal dome of Kepler Prime sparkled under 3 different suns as delegates from 47 alien species gathered for the most important meeting in galactic history. Inside the gleaming conference hall, floating platforms carried representatives of every major civilization known to exist. Some breathed oxygen like the pale, thin Valdorians. Others existed as pure energy like the shimmering Etherians. The insect-like Kythera clicked and buzzed in their corner, while the massive reptilian Draknari sat in heavy silence. At the center of it all stood Ambassador Velthok of the Hegemony, his 6 purple eyes scanning the assembled crowd. Today's debate would decide the fate of a young species that had only recently discovered faster-than-light travel. The humans of Earth wanted to join their confederation, but Velthok had other plans. Fellow beings, Velthok's voice echoed through translation devices that turned his words into sounds each species could understand. We gathered today to discuss a dangerous situation. The species called humans has been watching us from their small blue planet for 15 years, since they achieved space travel. They asked to join us, but I say we must refuse. A low murmur rippled through the chamber. The Valdorian delegate, Dr. Mortel, raised one of her 4 delicate arms. Ambassador Velthok, what makes you believe they are dangerous? Our observations show they are curious and eager to learn. Velthok activated a holographic display that filled the center of the dome. Images of Earth's history played out for all to see. Wars, weapons, cities burning, nuclear explosions lighting up the darkness of space. Look at their past, he declared. They fight among themselves constantly. They destroy their own environment. In just 100 years, they went from riding animals to splitting atoms to bending space itself. No species advances as quickly without being violent. Captain Jehun sat in the command chair of a human exploration vessel Endeavor, positioned just outside the meeting system. He could not attend the conference, but his ship's advanced sensors picked up every word through secret Valdorian communication channels. His communications officer, Miho, looked worried as he listened to the translation. "Sir," Miho said quietly, "they are not even giving us a chance to explain ourselves. They judge us based on old history, without meeting us." Jehun nodded grimly. He had served in Earth's peaceful exploration fleet for 10 years. His mission was to make friends with alien species, not conquer them, but the Confederation seemed to have already made up their minds. Back in the dome, more delegates spoke against humanity. The crystalline Arcturus representative projected thoughts instead of words. These humans spread too quickly across their star system. They build machines of war alongside machines of peace. How can we trust their intentions? Only 4 voices spoke in humanity's favor. Dr. Mortel argued that humans showed great curiosity and kindness in their few peaceful contacts with Valdorian scouts. The Etherian delegate, a being of pure light and thought, suggested that human emotions showed depth and complexity worth studying. The Kythera merchant saw a potential profit in human trade goods and innovations. Most surprisingly, the Draknari warrior leader Skartok stood on his massive legs and spoke with a voice like grinding stone. "I have studied these humans through captured transmissions of their entertainment and communications," Skartok rumbled. "They are warriors, yes, but warriors who sing songs about peace. They fight, but they also weep for their fallen enemies. They are not like us, and that makes them interesting, not dangerous." Velthok's eyes blazed with anger. "Interesting? They are a plague that will spread across the galaxy if we let them. Their own planet shows what they do. They consume resources, multiply rapidly, and fight endless wars. Do you want this to happen to our peaceful worlds?" The debate continued for hours, but Jehun could already sense the outcome. Most delegates seemed afraid of humanity's rapid progress and violent history. They could not see past Earth's troubles to understand what humans had become. Dr. Yuna, working in her laboratory on Luna Station orbiting Earth's moon, received a live transmission with growing sadness. Her assistant Jai will watch the alien delegates argue about humanity's fate, as if humans were animals in a zoo rather than thinking beings with hopes and dreams. "They do not understand us at all," Jai Wu said softly. "They see our past mistakes, but not our future possibilities." Yuna nodded, her mind already working on a problem that had consumed her for years. "That is because they cannot truly communicate with us. Translation devices change words, but they do not change hearts or minds. If they could feel what we feel, understand why we make the choices we make, perhaps they would judge us differently. The final vote came at sunset on Kepler Prime. 43 species voted to reject humanity's application for Confederation membership. Only the Valdorians, Etherians, Kythera, and Draknari voted in their favor. The decision was clear. Earth would remain isolated, cut off from galactic civilization. As the news reached Earth through secret channels, Admiral Seodine stood before the United Terran Council with grim determination. "They have rejected us without even meeting us properly," he announced to the assembled leaders. "But this is not the end. This is just the beginning of humanity's real tests." The galaxy had chosen to exclude Earth, but they had no idea what humanity was capable of when pushed into a corner. 6 months after the rejection, invisible walls surrounded human space, like a cage made of starlight. Confederation patrol ships drifted silently at the edges of Earth's solar system, their sleek hulls reflecting the distant sun. They called it Protective Protocol 7, a gentle name for what was really a prison. Captain Jahun guided his ship toward the boundary, testing the limits once again. His crew watched nervously as a hegemony vessel appeared on their screens, its hull painted in the purple and gold of official Confederation authority. "Human vessel, you are approaching restricted space," came the polite but firm message. "Please return to your designated territory for your own safety and cultural preservation." Miho shook his head in frustration. "They make it sound like they are protecting us from something terrible out there, but we know the truth. They are protecting themselves from us." Back on Earth, Admiral Seogene stood before the emergency session of the United Terran Council. Representatives from every nation sat in the circular chamber beneath the blue and white flag of united humanity. Their faces showed anger, confusion, and determination in equal measure. "The situation is clear," Seogene announced, his voice carrying to every corner of the room. "Every human ship that tries to leave our solar system gets turned back. They do not shoot us or threaten us directly. They simply escort us home like children who wandered too far from the playground." Diplomat Hyojin slammed her fist on the desk, her usually calm expression twisted with anger. "This is insulting beyond words. They treat us like dangerous animals that must be kept in a zoo. We have done nothing wrong except exist and want to explore the galaxy like every other species." President Kim Deo, elected leader of the Terran Council, raised his hand for silence. "What are our options? We cannot fight 43 advanced alien civilizations. We cannot sneak past their patrols forever. And we cannot simply sit here and accept this treatment." From the back of the chamber, Dr. Yuna stepped forward, carrying a briefcase that seemed to hum with contained energy. Her assistant Jaiwu followed closely, both wearing the white coats of Earth's top scientists. "There might be another way," Yuna said quietly, but her words carried clearly through the chamber's acoustics. "For the past 5 years, my team has been working on a project that could change everything. We call it the Empathic Translation Matrix." She opened her briefcase and pulled out a device that looked like a silver headband covered in tiny crystals. Current translation technology only converts words from one language to another, but words are just the surface of communication. Real understanding comes from feeling what another being feels, thinking how they think. Jaiwu activated a holographic display that showed brain patterns and energy waves flowing between different shapes representing various alien species. This device does not just translate words. It allows two different beings to experience each other's emotions, memories, and thought processes directly. For a few moments, a human can feel what it is like to be Valdorian, and a Valdorian can understand human perspectives. The council chamber fell silent as the implication sank in. Admiral Seogene leaned forward with interest. "Are you saying we can make them understand us? Make them feel what we feel when they reject us and lock us away?" "More than that," Yuna replied with growing excitement. "We could understand them too. We could learn why they fear us, what they need, how they think. True communication has never existed between species before. This could be the key to real peace." Captain Jahun, listening through secure channels from his ship, felt hope stirring in his chest. "Doctor, how many of these devices do you have?" "We have built 50 prototypes so far," Jaiwu answered. Each one can create empathic links between up to 10 different beings at once. But we need to test them with actual alien species to make sure they work properly. President Kim stood up slowly, his weathered face thoughtful. The Confederation has made it clear they will not meet with us officially. But there are species out there who voted in our favor. Perhaps they would be willing to help us test this technology in secret. Admiral Seojin nodded grimly. The Valdorians have been sending us encrypted messages of support. Dr. Mortel seems genuinely interested in human culture and science. If anyone would help us, it would be them. But we must be careful. Hyojin warned. If the Confederation discovers we are making contact with their member species behind their backs, they might decide we're even more dangerous than they already think. Dr. Yuna packed her device away carefully. The risk is worth it. Right now, they judge us based on fear and incomplete information. If we can show them who we really are, not just our history of war, but our capacity for love, curiosity, and sacrifice, they might change their minds. Captain Jehun received his new orders within hours. Instead of testing the boundaries of the quarantine, he would begin secret missions to make contact with friendly alien species. His ship would carry the first empathic translation devices to beings who might be willing to truly understand humanity. As he prepared for the dangerous journey ahead, Jehun looked back at Earth one last time. The blue marble floated peacefully in space, unaware that its children were about to attempt something that could either bring galactic peace or make humanity's situation much worse. The real test was just beginning. Instead of smashing against the invisible walls around Earth, humanity chose a different path. Like water flowing around stones, they found ways to reach between cracks of the Confederation's barriers. Captain Jehun's ship drifted silently through the dark space between star systems, its new stealth technology making it nearly invisible to alien sensors. Dr. Mortel had sent him coordinates for a secret meeting, far from the watching eyes of Confederation patrols. The Valdorian scientists waited in a small research station, hidden inside an asteroid field. When Jehun's team arrived, Mortel's four delicate arms moved in what humans had learned was a gesture of welcome. "Captain Jehun," she said through her translation device, "I am glad you came. Many of my people are angry about the quarantine decision. We believe it is wrong to judge your species without truly knowing you." Jehun carried Dr. Yuna's empathic translation device in a secure case. "Dr. Mortel, we have something that might change everything. But first, we need someone brave enough to test it with us." When Mortel placed a silver headband on her smooth, pale head, something amazing happened. For the first time in galactic history, two completely different species shared the same thoughts and feelings. Mortel gasped as she experienced human curiosity, the burning need to explore and understand everything. Jehun felt the Valdorian love of peaceful knowledge and their deep sadness at seeing other species fight. "This is incredible," Mortel whispered, tears flowing from her large eyes. "I can feel why your people want to join us so badly. You are not seeking conquest. You are seeking friendship." Within weeks, Mortel had helped establish a secret communication network. Sympathetic aliens from dozens of species began reaching out to humanity in hidden channels. Each contact brought new understanding. Captain Sung-jae made contact with the Draknari warrior leader Skartalk on a dead moon at the edge of space. The massive reptilian being stood 3 meters tall, with scales like armor and claws that could cut through steel. Most species fear the Draknari, but humans found them fascinating. "Your warriors fight differently than ours," Skartalk rumbled in his deep voice as he examined human military tactics through the empathic device. "We fight with strength and honor, expecting our enemies to do the same. But you fight with cleverness. You turn weakness into strength, defeat into victory." Sung-jae shared memories of human military history, not just the battles, but the stories of soldiers who sacrificed themselves to save others, who found ways to win without destroying everything around them. Skartalk felt the human concept of honorable defeat and victory with mercy. "Your species understands something we do not," the Draknari leader admitted. "You know that the strongest warrior is not always the one who survives, but the one who protects others. This is wisdom worth learning." Meanwhile, economist Jae-yun worked with Kithira merchants in hidden trading posts throughout the galaxy. The insect-like beings had always focused on profit and individual success, but human economic ideas confused and intrigued them. You share resources with those who cannot pay. Click the Kythera trader Zictal through the empathic device. You help competitors when they struggle. This makes no sense for business. But when Zictal experienced human economic thinking directly, she understood. Humans had learned that helping others succeed often helped everyone prosper. A rising tide lifted all ships, as they said. The Kythera began quietly adopting human cooperation methods, and their profits actually increased. The real breakthrough came when humanity encountered their first crisis. The Zetheri, an insectoid species not part of Confederation, faced complete extinction from a mysterious plague. Their desperate calls for help echoed across space, but most advanced species ignored them. Dr. Salmon led a secret medical mission to the dying Zetheri colonies. Using empathic translation technology, her team did something no alien doctors had ever attempted. They experienced Zetheri biology from the inside. "I can feel their cellular structure," Salmon reported to her team as she worked with the empathic device connected to a sick Zetheri patient. "Their immune system works completely differently from ours, but I can understand how the plague attacks them." The human medical team felt the Zetheri's pain as if it were their own. They understood the alien biology not just through scientific observation, but through direct experience. Within 3 weeks, they developed a cure that saved millions of insectoid lives. Communications officer Yunji monitored the Zetheri broadcasts as the plague disappeared from their worlds. "Doctor, they are calling us miracle workers. They are telling everyone in the galaxy that humans risked their lives to save a species they had never even met before." The news spread like wildfire through unofficial channels. Species that had never heard of humans suddenly wanted to know more about these strange beings who saved others without asking for payment or territory in return. The aquatic melody sent secret messages asking for help with their polluted oceans. The Crystalline Arcturus Collective wanted to understand human art and creativity. Even some Confederation member species began reaching out quietly, curious about these empathic translation devices that seemed to solve conflicts that had lasted for centuries. Back on Earth, Dr. Yuna watched the reports with amazement. "We are not breaking their quarantine with ships or weapons," she told Admiral Seojin. "We are breaking it with understanding and kindness." But they had no idea that their secret revolution was about to be discovered by those who feared it most. The secret spread like ripples across a pond. What started as a few hidden conversations between humans and sympathetic aliens grew into something much larger. Species that had been enemies for centuries suddenly found ways to understand each other through humanity's empathic translation technology. Dong Hyuk found himself in an impossible situation, mediating a peace talk between the Melody and the Christarchs, two species that had been at war for 300 years over mining rights in the Spiral Nebula. The aquatic Melody breathed water and thought in flowing, emotional patterns. The silicon-based Christarchs existed as living crystal formations that process information in rigid, logical structures. "Your people poison our breeding grounds with your mining chemicals," the Melody representative flowing current of deep waters sang through her translation device, her gill slits fluttering with anger. "Your emotional thinking clouds rational resource allocation," replied the Christarch entity's sharp angles of pure logic, its crystalline body flickering with mathematical patterns. Dong Hyuk activated 2 empathic translation devices, one for each alien. "Please, both of you, try to experience this conflict from the other's perspective." When flowing current felt the Christarch's desperate need for rare minerals to feed their growing population, her anger softened to understanding. When sharp angles experienced the Melody's terror of watching their children die in polluted waters, its rigid logic bent toward compassion. Within hours, they had worked out a mining agreement that protected Melody breeding grounds while giving Christarchs access to the minerals they needed. It was the first peaceful resolution to their conflict in centuries. But the growing network of cooperation did not go unnoticed. Ambassador Velthok of Hegemony watched intelligence reports with increasing alarm. His spy networks reported strange activities throughout the galaxy, former enemies working together, species sharing technology and resources in unprecedented ways. And at the center of it all, mysterious references to something called human understanding. Chief Scientist Kelna, Velthok commanded. His 6 eyes focused on holographic displays surrounding his command chamber. I need answers. How are these primitive humans causing such disruption while trapped in their own solar system? Kelnara, a tall, thin being with pale blue skin and oversized brain cavity, studied the data streams. Ambassador, we have detected unusual energy signatures in several sectors. It appears some form of new communication technology is spreading between species. The breakthrough came when hegemony agents intercepted a human ship returning from a secret meeting with Valdorian researchers. In the cargo hold, they found one of Dr. Yuna's empathic translation devices. Kelnara's analysis team worked for days to understand the alien technology. When they finally decoded its function, the revelation sent shockwaves to the Confederation leadership. This changes everything, Kelnara reported to an emergency council session on Kepler Prime. Delegates from all 43 member species gathered to hear the disturbing news. This human device does not simply translate languages. It creates direct empathic connections between different species. The chamber erupted in confused voices as translation devices struggled to convert dozens of alien languages simultaneously. Velthok raised his voice above the chaos. Explain exactly what this means, he demanded. Kelnara activated a holographic demonstration. When 2 beings use this device, they experience each other's emotions, thoughts, and memories directly. A Valdorian can feel what it is like to be human. A Draknari can experience Kithier logic patterns. Complete empathic understanding becomes possible. The implications hit the assembled delegates like a physical blow. For millennia, conflict between species had stemmed from fundamental misunderstandings of each other's motivations and needs. Wars have been fought over territory that one species needed desperately, while another considered worthless. Trade disputes had escalated to violence because species could not comprehend each other's value systems. Do you realize what this means? Whispered the Etherian delegate, its energy form flickering with excitement. This technology could end all interspecies conflict. True understanding could bring peace to the galaxy. But Velthok saw only danger. This technology could also be used to manipulate and control other species, he declared. A being that can influence the thoughts and emotions of others possesses the ultimate weapon. These humans are more dangerous than we imagined. On Earth, communication specialist Taeyong monitored the Confederation emergency session through hidden Valdorian channels. He turned to Admiral Seojin with urgent news. Sir, they have discovered our empathic translation technology. But instead of celebrating the possibility of galactic peace, they are treating it as a threat. Ambassador Velthok is convincing them that we are trying to control other species. Admiral Seojin studied the intelligence reports with growing concern. How many species are now part of our secret network? Over 200 species have made contact with us, Taeyong reported, including 23 current Confederation members who are questioning their government's policies. They have experienced human empathy directly and no longer believe we are dangerous. The situation was becoming impossible to hide. Ships from dozens of species were secretly traveling to meet with human representatives. Trade agreements were being negotiated outside official channels. Some Confederation members were openly defying their government's orders to avoid contact with humanity. Velthok's final speech to the Confederation Council sealed humanity's fate. Fellow beings, we face the greatest threat in galactic history. These humans have created a weapon more dangerous than any bomb or warship: the ability to change how other species think and feel. If we allow this to continue, human influence will spread until every species becomes their puppet. The emergency vote was swift and unanimous. Humanity would be forcibly contained. Their empathic technology would be confiscated. Their influence would be eliminated by any means necessary. But Velthok had made one critical mistake. He had no idea how far humanity's network of friends had already grown. The encrypted message arrived at Earth just as Confederation warships began moving toward human space. Captain Sungjae read the intelligence report twice before believing what he saw. The human network had grown beyond anyone's wildest dreams. Over 200 species now secretly supported humanity, including 23 full members of the Confederation itself. Admiral, Sungjae reported to the Emergency Command Center on Luna Station. The Draknari warrior clans are offering to fight beside us. The Kithira merchants are threatening to cut off trade with any species that attacks Earth. Even some hegemony colonies are sending messages of support. Admiral Seojin stood before the massive holographic display, showing Confederation fleet movements. Hundreds of alien warships were positioning themselves around human territory, preparing for what Velthok called aggressive containment operations. "Sir," Communications Officer Wu Jin called from his station, "we are receiving offers of military aid from dozens of species. The Valdorians are sending their entire science fleet to help us. The Kristarts are offering their mining ships as defensive platforms." But Dr. Hayen, now Earth's chief empathic technology specialist, had a different idea. She approached the Admiral with determination in her eyes. "We do not need to fight them," she said quietly. "We need to help them understand. If we can broadcast an empathic message to every being in the galaxy simultaneously, we can show them who we really are." Admiral Seojin considered this carefully. "You mean use our translation technology on a galactic scale? Is that even possible?" "My team has been working on it for months," Hayen replied. "We can link every empathic device in our network together, creating a transmission powerful enough to reach every inhabited world in known space. Instead of fighting, we speak directly to their hearts." The decision came down to Earth's newly elected president, Nari, a former poet who had been chosen specifically for her ability to communicate with different cultures. She stood before the United Terran Council as reports came into Confederation forces surrounding human space. "We face a choice," Nari announced to the assembled representatives. "We can fight a war we cannot win against species that fear us, or we can do something that has never been attempted in galactic history. We can show the entire galaxy what it truly means to be human." Within hours, the most ambitious communication project in history was underway. Dr. Hayen and her team worked frantically to connect every empathic translation device in a human network. Valdorian scientists provided technical support. Kithira engineers offered their communication relays. Even Draknari warriors helped boost signal strength with their powerful transmitters. Captain Kyungmin coordinated with secret allies across the galaxy. "Empathic relay stations are coming online throughout the spiral arm," he reported. "We will be able to reach over 90% of all inhabited worlds." As the Confederation fleet prepared to attack, President Nari stood before the galactic transmission array. She wore a simple dress and carried no weapons, no symbols of power. She was just a human being about to speak to the galaxy. "Citizens of all worlds," she began, her voice being translated into thousands of languages while the empathic layer prepared to carry something far more powerful than words. "We are humanity. We were judged dangerous before you knew us. We were condemned for crimes we might commit rather than welcome for the friends we wish to be." Across the galaxy, beings stopped what they were doing as the transmission reached them. But this was not just another diplomatic message. Through the empathic layer, every listener began to experience what it felt like to be human. On the hegemony capital world, Velthok felt human curiosity, the burning desire to explore and understand everything in the universe. On Valdorian colonies, beings experienced human compassion, the willingness to sacrifice for strangers. Draknari warriors felt human courage mixed with mercy. Kithira merchants experienced human generosity, the strange joy of giving without expecting return. "We do not ask you to forget our violent past," Nari continued as the empathic broadcast shared memories of human history, not just wars and destruction, but also acts of incredible kindness, sacrifice, and love. "We ask you to see our possible future. We are a young species learning to be better. We make mistakes, but we learn from them. We fight sometimes, but we also forgive." The effect was immediate and profound. On dozens of worlds, beings who had supported the quarantine began to understand that humanity's greatest strength was not their technology or adaptability. It was their ability to recognize worth in others, even in those who rejected them. In the Confederation war fleet, alien crews turned to their commanders with new understanding. "Sir," a hegemony officer reported to his captain, "I felt what they feel. They are not trying to conquer us. They just want to belong somewhere." Velfalk himself stood on his command ship bridge, tears flowing from his 6 eyes as he experienced human loneliness, the deep pain of being cast out by those you want to befriend. All ships, came the order across the fleet communication channels: stand down, return to base. The war that never began marked the end of the old galaxy and the birth of something new. Within 6 months, the Galactic Confederation dissolved itself. In its place rose a universal alliance, built on humanity's gift to the stars, the simple recognition that understanding creates friendship and friendship creates peace. President Nari's final words echoed across the galaxy long after the transmission ended. We are all different, but difference is not dangerous. It is beautiful.